Welcome to One Sharp Sword, cutting through to what matters most. I'm your host, Dr. P, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the exponential success coach. Today we are talking about thinking, overthinking, preparing, preparing more, and then doing. And this all came up because one of my one-to-one clients. People work with me at all levels. I have a group. I have one-to-one clients. I do leadership work in organizations. This one came to me with one of my one-to-one clients when she said to me, I spent more time thinking about doing something than the time it would take me to actually do it. Can you relate to that? I spent more time thinking about doing something. Now, sometimes that's a matter of personal courage. We worry about the outcome. We worry about what it's going to take to get it right. We worry about whether doing it is going to be effective or efficient. I personally started laughing at myself for the ridiculousness of I only have 20 minutes and I have these 3 items to do. So what should I do? And this is all in my head. Yes, even as a high performer and a coach for high performers, that kind of stuff still swirls in my head. Now, the difference is I know it and I'm able to shut it down. I only have 20 minutes and I have these 3 important items to do. Maybe I should just use the 20 minutes to find time to do these 3 things on my calendar. Find it on my calendar another time. I started laughing because it's like, that is so ridiculous. I have 20 minutes. How much of any one item can I do? And then that much is done. I don't have to complete it. It is called chunking it down. So it's an incredible thing. I was running an organization. And one of the first times that I actually had to take disciplinary action for somebody was a hire that I had done. And this was a gentleman he came on, his resume looked great. He had a beautiful personality. He was going to be perfect. And 3 months had gone by and I hadn't seen really any of the production that he had promised me. He had shown progress, but I hadn't seen an output yet of the thing he said he was going to do. And when I asked him about it, it wasn't like, oh, I left him alone for 3 months. I checked in with him, and I checked in with him, and I checked in with him, and he was showing me his progress. But, along the way, it was like, okay, so when is this thing going to be done? Well, I'm getting ready. Well, I'm preparing. I've got these things ready to go now. I'm prepared with these things. And it came to the point of me saying, this is kind of ridiculous. You're getting ready to get ready. And he had a larger room where he had staged certain pieces of things, but he hadn't ever produced the thing that he said he was going to produce. He had started a stage here and a stage there and a stage here, and it was looking good. But had I left him alone, it would have been another 6 months, maybe, if before I'd seen anything. And so he was surprised because I'd said that I was disappointed that he hadn't presented what he said he was going to present. And his response was that he was getting ready. He was getting ready. How many of us do that? We justify our busyness. We're so busy being busy that we forget that there's actually a final outcome, something that actually needs to be done. And so this is your reminder that there's prep time, there's time in your head, and there's time to actually do. And what's funny is when you actually do, you start to practice doing and you get better at the doing. And And so it's time to stop putting things on your to-do list. It's time to stop actually thinking about what we're going to do. Well, I'm going to do this. Well, I'm going to do that. Well, I'm going to put it on my to-do list. And once it's on the to-do list, do you put it off? Oh, I see it on my to-do list. I'll get to it. It's there on my list. I've parked it there. You can put it off one more time, and you can put it off one more time, and you can put it off one more time. I'm getting ready, or I'm not ready yet. That's a great lie we tell ourselves. Oh, I'm not ready yet. It's not good enough. And that translates. I want you to think about this. That the idea of, well, it's not good enough. It translates as I'm not good enough because you're worried about judgment. And so we put off that inevitable judgment. If you put something out there, you will be judged. And for those of you engaging in this podcast, obviously you're here, so you're with me at this point. You're judging this. Huh, that makes sense. Huh, that doesn't make sense. Huh, this is lame. Wow, that's awesome, right? All of those judgments could be swirling around for you. And it's totally up to you. And how it affects me is I'm continuing to do podcasts. I'm continuing to write. I'm continuing to produce books. I'm continuing to speak and present. I'm continuing to coach. What are you going to continue to do no matter what the judgment is that's out there? That's the big question. What will you step further into no matter what judgment is out there? I heard a term that's out there. It's being used. It's a great phrase, and it's used sometimes to shut people down. And it's, F around and find out. And it's like, well, F around and find out, which is basically don't F with me. Right. And it's like, well, what if we turn that around to like F around and find out? I'm wearing a Curious George shirt today. He's sort of always been my spirit animal. Um, and that's because curiosity is a thing. And what if you turned that into a positive? What if you turned the F around and find out thing into a positive? What if you decided to explore and learn, experience, and grow? Do the thing that you've been putting off. Find the unexpected experience, get the results, learn and grow, whether they're positive or not so positive. There is a lesson in there. So don't hold back. Don't hold back because it isn't perfect. It isn't perfect. If you start with knowing that there is more, there's always going to be more, and you deliver what you've got, knowing that there's more, you'll have delivered. And then you'll be able to build on that. When I did my doctoral dissertation, it wasn't about having all the answers. It was about having some of the answers. And more important, the idea of a doctoral dissertation is specifically to open doors to more research. Here's what I found, and here are the avenues that we must explore or that are now wide open to explore. So it's not only, well, ta-da, I've made this thing. Isn't it perfect? Isn't it great? It's ta-da, I've made this thing. And oh my gosh, there's more. That's how we could approach absolutely everything. Do the next thing on your to-do list, knowing that there's more. Don't spend so much time in getting ready. I'm getting ready to get it ready. I'm getting ready to prepare it. You're preparing to prepare. And then what? You have an idea, go explore it. How cool is that? And then share it, talk about it. And if people shut you down, okay. Don't let that stop you from exploring it. It just means you're talking to the wrong people about it. when you bring other people on the journey and you open doors for them, or truly you start to talk to the right people and you elevate them, and they then lift and elevate you because the contributions then become, oh, that's interesting. What about this? Oh, that's even more interesting. What about that? And you start to explore further. You start to learn more, and the connections, both interpersonal as well as theoretical, absolutely magnify. They are fully enhanced until the next level, in which case there's more enhancement and you grow further. And that is the point. Don't be afraid to produce something that's as good as it can be now. Because tomorrow, when you add something to it, it's going to be better. And then the next day, it'll be better. But don't wait for tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Put it out there and then refine it for yourself until you can put it out again. This is it. This is be ready now. You are already with what you have. You already have enough to take that next step. Part of being courageous is to take the step that you know you could, or dare I say should, take with the resources that you have. I will tell you this, nobody, 100% of nobody, like 100% of everybody, nobody is prepared fully to be a parent, for example. If you think about your parents, how many times do you feel like, if you could look back at your parents, how many times do you think they made mistakes? And yet here you are, you're doing okay. Was there trauma? Sure. Were there times that you were lifted up and supported? I hope so. Sure. I don't know your situation. Maybe not. My hope is that there was at least a time or two that you felt supported. The biggest point here is that parents, the reason I bring up parents do the best they can with the resources they have at the time. And if you look back 20 years ago at your own life and you go, oh, if only I knew then what I know now. That's the whole point. You knew then what you knew then. And you know now what you know now. And 20 years from now, you still know now what you know now. And in 20 years, you will know more. So with that in mind, using that as a schema, don't spend so much time preparing or thinking about it, or, just, it's really, you waste the experience. You waste the opportunity to learn. So when my client said, I spent more time thinking about doing something than the time it would actually take to do it, I thought that was brilliant. It was a great insight. And it calls out the ridiculousness. I'm a big fan of the absurd. I'm a super big fan of finding and celebrating the absurd, because it really is absurd to spend more time thinking about doing something than actually getting it done. I love that. And the insight is what I love the most, right? So just what needs to be done, go do it. Just take it off of your to-do list, put it on your calendar. Put it on your calendar. That's the trick. It's a trick. And it works for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. Put it on your calendar and just do it. Spend a chunk of time. It could be 20 minutes. It could be 2 hours. It could be more than that. Get yourself into action instead of into thinking about taking action. And that is going to get you back on track for your exponential success. If you want to check out a group I'm running, take a look at Exponential Success Summit. Go to exponentialsuccesssummit.com. I would love to have you there. It's a really small group. Only 12 people are invited. And check it out and see if you're one of them. All right. With that, take action, right? Take action. Don't just think about, oh, I'll think about it. Take action. Whatever it is you're thinking about. Stop thinking, start doing. This is One Sharp Sword Cutting Through to What Matters Most. I'm your host, Dr. Wayne Pernell, the Exponential Success Coach. Thank you for joining me.